Okay, so today I want to talk about Ron DeSantis. But before we talk about Ron DeSantis, I want to take a little trip in the time machine to 2015. Why the year 2015? Because that was the year of the primaries, the Republican primaries, ahead of the 2016 election, which saw Donald Trump win. And it was also the year that a man named Mike Pence, who was then governor of Indiana, signed into law a bill known as the Religious Freedom Restoration Act. Now, for people that don't really remember this act, it was before the Don't Say Gay legislation in Florida, but it was very much in the same vein, which is basically making an argument that somehow individual liberties are expanded by people being able to deny service to others, specifically catering to gay couples. There's a couple things under the bill, but the big one that got the media attention is kind of along the lines of that Baker, I think it was Colorado originally, but does a business have the right to deny someone's service on the basis of their sexual orientation? The argument being, if I'm religious and I disagree with homosexuality, I can refuse to cater to a gay wedding. Now, this was a massive clusterfuck. The blowback, I think right now you're seeing kind of Disney and Bob Iger kind of battle with Ron DeSantis. But, to be honest, that's not even really, this was before the Trump era. I think people forget that in a lot of ways we're actually, much less shocked by very outward shows of kind of social conservatism. This is kind of still in the Obama era, and the idea of discriminating against gay people was very unpopular. It was right before the men's Final Four. And I think there was another, like a gaming convention or something that was set to happen there. But this thing blew up, right? There was a ton of businesses that criticized Indiana. I think it was Apple, the NCAA, obviously the Final Four that was there. I'm looking at a website right now. It says Salesforce, Subaru, Angie's List, and notably, this was a really big deal. The Indianapolis Star, which is kind of the big local newspaper now, the editorial staff took out the front page. They said, "Fix this now." You can Google it. And it was basically a huge blowback, and there was almost no one thought that Pence was going to win re-election. It was kind of seen as this suicide mission to make a point about his morals. Why is this important now with Ron DeSantis? Because I was just reading a story about the beef between him and Bob Iger. I believe it was a $1 billion, 2,000 job investment that Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, said he's going to pull out over DeSantis's legislation, which many claim is anti-LGBT. He always says it doesn't, but I would say that seems to be the majority opinion, is that it is very much the case. And someone I was seeing on Instagram said DeSantis is in over his head. He doesn't know what he's doing. Now, I find this very ironic because I think you can see the immediate parallels. Immediate parallels. We're looking at a year heading into a primary before an election, of which Trump is going to run. I don't know how relevant that is or not, but and you have a governor who is doing a great grandstanding to the conservative masses of the country while essentially hurting his constituents locally, largely through a withdrawal of corporate dollars in his state. It could not be more similar to the Pence situation. So, do I think DeSantis is in over his head? No. I actually think DeSantis is doing exactly what he intends to do, which is what he saw exactly what worked when a pretty no-name governor of, a state that's not particularly, important as the governor, and he parlayed that into being the vice president of the United States, and everyone knows DeSantis is planning to run for president. So whether or not the Florida people reelect him doesn't particularly matter to him right now. If he's running for president, what he has to do is get the conservative vote at large. Now, I would argue that he should do this without losing his home state of Florida, because they are probably the most important swing state, I think. Yeah. Florida, Michigan, Ohio, but Florida is the fifth most populous state in the country, so I'd say they're the most important swing state. So he can't piss off his base so much as to lose that. But you know what made me very, very sad at the time was I really thought Pence was going to lose Indiana, which is also seen as an important swing state, and he carried his home state. So maybe DeSantis looks at this, he says, I can keep my home state, and I can use this kind of toxic pill to make a big show, get a big name out to myself, to the Utah people and the, I don't know who else are the big conservative, Texas, big conservative states that will see what he's doing, vote for him for president. Meanwhile, he'll hurt his own constituents. It's a very classic playbook. It's very sad. There's my thoughts there.